job, but everything we see and do affects us just like it does everybody else.
A lot of problems with first responders and veterans is that now we're in a battlefield that's very different.
I've lost more friends to suicide than I did in combat, and it really hurts.
When you push the human envelope to those maximum extents, physically, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, and then you pull that plug, nothing prepares you for the silence. Nothing prepares you for that void.
You can't come that close to death without it having some effect on you.
I'll never forget my wife telling me, you know, you're not the same Brett that I married.
What War Horses does is it puts you in that environment to, in essence, look in the mirror, but that mirror's that horse, and that horse is going to tell you where you're at.
You got to relax. You got to calm down. You got to slow your mind down and just think about this one thing, controlling that horse.
The first thing we do before we get on a horse, we breathe, to let go of everything in your head. If I don't let go of everything, I cannot be present with the horse.
It's magic. I just started crying. It was the first time in my life that I literally let everything go.
Compassion, generosity, love, all of these things trickle back into what it is to be a human being.
It's completely changed me.
All the confidence I had lost, it started coming back working with these horses. They've given me my life back.
There it is. Oh gosh. That was the, okay, I should have pressed the red button, but then I pressed the green button, and it should have been the yellow button. So,
check.
We're back. Now we're here.
That's Cause.
That's me. I'm Cause. That's Pokey. This is Friday Night Freedom, and this is WTF Nation Radio. We are the voice of U.S. Army WTF moments when I press the correct buttons. And I'm very happy to be here. What a slow news week, man. I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
All right.
I'm glad y'all could join us. It's been a little bit boring in the news, actually. That's not quite the truth. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. I just want to let you guys know about what's coming up in future shows. So March 1st, we're going to have Kevin Bigley. Kevin Bigley is an actor and a writer known for appearances in BoJack Horseman, American Dad, and Upload. He'll be on Pop Culture Warrior this Tuesday, so be sure you tune in. we've got stuff like the station's birthday is coming up, and we have other guests, but they're so far in the future I didn't want to mention them. So that's the only one I'm going to have tonight. Tonight we have Marc Liebman is going to be here. This is his second appearance on WTF Nation Radio, and he's a badass, man. He's a United States Navy veteran. So he's going to return to the WTF Nation to talk about his latest book, Failure to Fire, which was released last week on. I got rid of the. You can find Marc Liebman's books. He's got, I want to say, the last time he was on, he had 10 books, and I think he's pushed 2 books out since then. So I want to say he's on 12 or 13 now. I haven't read any of his books. What happened was I have 2 of his books. I can't remember the name of one of them, but I've got Big Mother 40 and the other book, and I took them on my Christmas trip. And my dad's like, "Ooh, I want to read that." And my brother was like, "Ooh, I want to read the other one." So I gave them to them. So that's it. I don't have them anymore. I think I'll get them back at some point, but my dad's really into the digital readers. No, he's got a Nook. I think it's a Nook.
Ooh.
So he and
I
my
don't know they made those anymore.
I don't know. He's kind of old, but he's my dad. But he and my mom kind of just like trade Nooks. Like they'll read something and then they'll just trade Nooks, and then they're like book addicts, man. They don't know what to do with their lives if they don't have something to read.
That's a good thing though.
It is a good thing. My kids are like that. I'm not like that.
Oh, I'm a total book nerd.
I've got all these. I've got a lot of books. I've read a lot of them, but the thing is, and this is an excuse. You know, it sounds like an excuse, is because it is. I'm extremely busy, and the last thing I want to do is it's like television. I don't sit down and watch television. I don't sit down and read books. It's just there's too many other things that need to be done. I think I need to treat book reading as more like therapy as opposed to a recreational activity. Because I know when I'm really wrapped up in a good book, it's awesome. It feels good. Because I enjoy the stories and whatnot. I think I need to change my have a little bit of a paradigm shift as far as reading books goes. I would like to have that as a hobby, another hobby, or something to, pass the time or unwind my mind or something. Kind of decompress, right?
I don't have at least 3 or 4 books I'm actively reading. I'm losing my mind at it.
You got a stack of books in the bathroom, a couple in the room.
No. It's just got a massive library is what it is. It's crazy. So.
I think I've got more. The good thing is I've got more books that I've read than I haven't read. So that's a good thing. I just don't buy them and they collect dust. I do eventually read them. So I've been kind of running around like a chicken with my head cut off. We had an ice day yesterday, because when you get a 1/16 of an inch of ice or a 1/4 of an inch of ice, you kind of shut down North Texas. So yeah, we had an ice storm that kind of rolled through yesterday. Well, it was Wednesday night into Thursday, and then it was just horrible. Traffic sucks.
There was 80 degrees out yesterday.
80 degrees.
Yes.
You can't have ice at.
No.
So Richard Branco says, "Hey, I heard Team Old is doing a show in Colorado. Confirm or deny?" Yes, I'm going to confirm that. I was just going to talk about that. So Saturday, which is tomorrow, February 26, 2022, we are going to be doing some broadcasting on military broadcast radio. I really don't know what's going on. I'm flying up to Colorado Springs tomorrow. I'm going to hook up with ICE, and we're going to get together and do this thing at the National Museum of World War II Aviation. I don't know much about that museum, but it's going to be great. It's a fundraiser, and for Operation. Oh gosh, Operation. It sounds like Nobody Left Behind. I'm having a senior moment here. It was a damn it, Operation Pay It Forward. Yay! That was in my cerebellum there somewhere. It's Operation Pay It Forward. It's a charity that helps veterans, man, and we're all about helping the veterans. So that's what we're going to do. Tomorrow, it's going to be a quick trip. I really wish I could spend more time in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is really beautiful. If you haven't been there, man, just put that on your bucket list. It's a really pretty part of the country.
My sister lives up near Boulder.
That's nice. I mean, Colorado's just a beautiful state. Kind of jacked up on the politics end, but man, it's a beautiful state.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, everything's kind of jacked up on the political spectrum right now. It doesn't matter where you live, whether it's Texas or Colorado or California. They're just different. It's a different spectrum of jacked up. How about that? So I actually remembered to. This is 2 weeks in a row that I remember to hit the connect button. So that's a good thing. Now I just need to marry this together and remember to turn on my microphone before I start. Musa Alzwani says Colorado's a bit expensive. You are absolutely correct. Price per square foot for houses is super, super huge. Even rent is really big. This is probably 5 years. How old is the station? 6 years now? 7? Going to be 7? So along the beginning of my tenure here at WTF Nation Radio, I was not being threatened with being laid off, but things weren't looking so hot. So it looked like I was going to be laid off. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna start putting my tentacles out and looking for other jobs. I got a job offer pending interview for Lockheed Martin Space, and that was going to be in a city just south. It may have been Boulder. It was right outside of Denver. So I did the interview, and they're like, "Okay, we want to offer you a position." I said, "Great," and they were offering me a salary that was like $10 less an hour than I was already making. I'm like, dude, doing the same thing. I mean, the cost of living has increased. The salaries are not there. So they tried to lowball me, and they never called me back after I declined. So that would have been pretty cool, man. I think that would have been really cool. I mean, I do aviation anyway. I do flight systems, flight control testing, avionics testing. So it's not too different than what I'm already doing, just in a different part of the country. I can do that kind of stuff. I can adapt really quickly, and I was really disappointed because I'd have been up in Colorado right now. So that's about all I got to say about that. So yes, to confirm your assumption, yes, we are going to Colorado. It's not gonna be like the Freedom On Fest. It's going to be something completely different. Fundraiser. There's an auction. Dude, they got really cool stuff on this auction. Fishing trips and raft trips. There's places where you donate money, to their fund there. They got a couple of. They got a. Is it a Springfield? No, it's a Savage. Who makes Savage? Is it a 308? Or is it 300? No, it's 300 Winchester. They got a couple of guns. They got a. What the hell was that? What the hell? You looked terrified there for a second.
I've never done that before. I went to move my hand and my whole microphone went flying. No, they make Savage makes all kinds of guns. I've got a little 22 long rifle and 308 by them. So yeah, they make all kinds of firearms.
It was like a long distance. It's an auction for this gun, and it comes with long distance shooting training. So it's a big gun, and there's also there's an M16. God, there's my oldness. It's an AR-15 pistol. So that looked cool. It was a cool looking gun, and so I'm going to be bidding on some of those things. I know the manufacturer's suggested retail price is like $1,000, 1,100, something like that.
Eee.
But I'm looking up historical pricing on that, and you could probably pick up that gun for $900, $800. It doesn't come with optics. It doesn't look like it comes with optics. There's like a stock photo of it.
I mean, at this point, if you're gonna buy a firearm, I would highly suggest you getting an ammo press for it because
Ammo's pretty expensive, and it's hard to come by.
Make your own. It's easy.
So, lately in the news, apparently Russia did some things and stuff.
Damn Russians.
These damn Russians. So they did what they were expected to do, but they said they weren't going to do. And they breached the perimeter of Ukraine. Not that they breached it, like haven't been there before. Ukraine used to be part of Russia. So Ukraine is Nate. Ukraine is losing, but they're fighting their asses off. So when I gathered all this information, it was like I said, I've been busy this week. When I gathered all this information, this was more on the United States and allies were going the sanction route. We still are going the sanction route. We, as the United States, we're still going the sanction route. We're not boots on the ground. We don't have planes in the sky against Ivan right now. But I don't know. Things may change if they decide to go outside of Ukraine and attack another NATO country, or if maybe they do like a cyber attack on a NATO nation. Maybe that would change the story, because sanctions have been imposed, and it's nothing to shake a stick at. I don't think it's enough, but that's kind of where we are right now. So I'm going to start with the sanctions type of story here. So Russian troops have moved into 2 breakaway territories in Ukraine. The EU had reported earlier this week. And then the EU said that they would impose sanctions against Russia in response for the country placing troops on Ukrainian soil. You know what? Russia's been on Ukrainian soil a lot because of these breakaway. I'm not even talking about Belarus. It's like, down in like Mariupol, all the way up. It's on this map. It says here's held by separatists. That little shaded area on the right side, on the eastern side of Ukraine, that's under Russian influence. And there, Belarus is up kind of above. Is it Lutsk or is it Kiev? But anyway, they're up there. Belarus is still Russian. So they've been. It's not like they haven't been there before. Crimea, they annexed Crimea a few years ago.
2014, I think.
Yeah. So it's not like they haven't. It's not like this is brand new, right? But Russian diplomat Sergei Lavrov said on Tuesday he dismissed increased calls for sanctions against the country as tensions with the Ukraine ratchet up. He says, and these are his words. He says, "We're used to it." Talking about the sanctions, we're used to it. We're used to sanctions. We know that sanctions are going to be imposed anyway. We're used to it. We're expecting this. Putin pushed back on allegations of escalating tensions with Ukraine, saying that Russian forces were deployed to the country for peacekeeping reasons. And I know you can't believe a damn thing these fuckers say, because there's video out there of tanks running over civilian vehicles. There's video out there of
jets flying over and hitting residential areas.
Jets
and stuff like that.
strafing apartment buildings. Now, what kind of a strategic building is an apartment building? Unless they're mining Bitcoin. I don't know. Our European, American, and British colleagues will not stop, and they will not calm down until they have exhausted all of their possibilities for the so-called punishment of Russia. That's what Lavrov said. They are already threatening us in this manner of sanctions, or they say now the mother of all sanctions. I don't recall hearing that, the mother of all sanctions. I didn't.
I think the mother of all sanctions would be like what's on North Korea at this point. You know, that would be the mother of all sanctions.
Yeah, we'll give you rice. Good luck with that. So the Russian government warned on Wednesday of a strong and painful response to the Biden administration's sanctions against the country over its invasion of Ukraine, according to multiple reports. Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry said that the country would target sensitive U.S. assets in retaliation. You know, this lacks specificity. This really doesn't, it's like, what does that mean? Because you always have to read into what does that mean. The ministry said it was open to diplomacy with the U.S., but that the sanctions would be met with a fierce response. There should be no doubt that the sanctions will receive a strong response, not necessarily symmetrical, but finely tuned and painful to the American side. I've got more on that later. The Russians even issued a veiled threat to the space station. They said that if sanctions are enacted, Russia will not be able to provide the necessary parts to keep the ISS in orbit.
Good thing we got Elon Musk.
I looked into this, and what they're saying is true, because they supply all of the maintenance and repair items and the expertise to keep the propulsion systems online aboard the ISS.
Well, isn't the ISS like supposed to be done in a year or so? So I mean, just cut it short.
I think it's got 8 years of life left. I think in 2030 they're going to send it down into the what did we talk about? We talked about
it. It's like
the graveyard. Yeah, the graveyard. Yes. So, and I've been posting, especially on Twitter, just kind of talking shit, that the original thing was who said that Jim Handy said, a strongly worded memo. I said, yeah, Biden's going to write a strongly worded memo, followed by maybe some sanctions, and if they don't comply, then it's going to be a strongly worded memo, maybe in bold and maybe all caps.
So it's like that, like Looney Tunes, Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny, where like I'm going to draw a line in the sand, you won't cross it, and they just keep crossing it, like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Huh?
What was that? Robin Williams. You cross this line. He was talking about Gaddafi. You cross this line, you die. Oh, and then you cross that line. Okay, you cross this line, you die. Okay, you cross this line, you die.
You got it from the old like Looney Tunes. Like that's where it originated from.
So I was thinking, because that's kind of what I do. What else does the U.S. depend on Russia for? Nesting dolls, vodka,
fertilizer.
So nesting dolls, yes. So all of you people out there that like Russian nesting dolls, they're really, really cool. That's how I got that. That is how I taught my daughter how to crawl. She was obsessed with this Russian nesting doll, so I would take it apart. And, it had like 10 pieces inside of it, and I would stack them up like away from her, and she would like crawl and get one and crawl and get the other one and crawl and get the other one. So that's, Russian nesting dolls. So if we don't want to kill our Russian nesting doll supply, I guess we need to comply with whatever their demands are, right? So there's Russian nesting dolls. Vodka? No, really, not really. Texas supplies a fair amount of vodka to everybody. So that's not it. I was going to say the trip to the International Space Station, but we've got SpaceX, and to some degree we've got Blue Origin, right? To take.
Yeah, no.
They both have been there.
But Blue Origin made it the whole way to the.
I think Blue Origin went up. Did they? Maybe I'm misspeaking. I don't know. If you say no, then I believe it's no.
I think the only one that has been able to actually get up there and touch that part of space is SpaceX. I might be wrong myself, but from all I knew is like they had to redefine what an astronaut was because all these people hit like space. Like, nah, you're not an astronaut unless you hit this level of space at this point. No?
So Musa Alzwani says, can SpaceX manufacture these parts? I'll bet you they can reverse engineer them, but I think the expertise for these propulsion systems is solely in the Russians' hands. I don't know how much knowledge we have of their stuff. I really don't.
Probably not that advanced.
So as it turns out, after doing a little bit of digging, the United States buys a fair amount of platinum, iron and steel, and phosphate-based fertilizers from Russia.
Yes. Actually, Russia produces 2/3 of the world's ammonium phosphate, I think.
In 2020, the U.S. spent $700 million on fertilizers from Russia. This sounds like a lot, but according to the USGS Mineral Commodities Summary, boring document, dude. I'm glad I read this. You guys don't have to. It was regarding nitrogen and phosphate-based fertilizers. The U.S. is self-sufficient and retains most of the material for domestic consumption. While we can be self-sufficient in fertilizer production, we as a country choose not to because of the overbearing environmental regulations that chemical companies must abide by. To avoid these regulations, we just get it from someone else. In this case, we get a lot of it from Russia, and we also get it from Morocco. If Russia decided not to fulfill the contracts, or if sanctions hit the fertilizer imports, it would minimally hurt America's farmers, but we might see a slight crop yield decrease and then an increase in prices, as far as that goes. For whatever the farmers are doing, corn and spinach and stuff and things.
Things that we need to eat.
things that need fertilizer. So platinum, iron, and steel might sting a little bit more. Because there's our investment with that stuff is in the billions. So a lot of folks are thinking, okay, oil. The United States USA is the largest producer of crude oil, producing about 12.1 million barrels per day. While the U.S. is the largest producer, we are also the largest consumer of oil. The U.S. consumes 19.7 million barrels of oil per day. We've got a thirst for petroleum products. So that means we must import about 7.5 million barrels per day, and roughly 8% of that comes from Russia. The U.S. now imports about 700,000 barrels of oil from Russia. So just today, like many of you, I'd noticed a steep jump in the price of gas. Did you guys see that?
I've noticed it. I don't buy gas, but I pay attention to it.
You pay attention. you notice it. So I filled up the day before the Putin shit show launched, and a regular unleaded where I'm at here in North Texas was $3.11 per gallon. When I came home from work today, gas stations were sporting $3.49.
We're pushing almost $3.70 here.
It's all relative. They said gas prices, and I'm just doing the math, that's about a 12% uptick over a day. So if this gets worse, you're going to see gas prices increase even more. But this is so not in line with the amount of oil that we get as the United States. The amount of oil that we get from Russia is 8%. 8% of our entire oil supply we get from Russia. If this shit's popping off in Russia, why do our prices increase greater than 8%? I know there's funky math and stuff in there.
We could also add into the fact that Europe is going to be buying more gas from other places now, because I know Germany gets a lot of their natural gas and crude from Russia, and they export it out to a lot of the European nations.
So then we talk the Nord pipeline thing. I know some of that is in place, but there's like the Nord 2 pipeline, which President Biden allowed to happen. I mean, Trump was like, no, like, hell, fuck no, we're not doing that. But Biden says, as soon as he took office, he kind of like nullified everything that President Trump said. So they were allowing this to move forward. Now the European nations are like, Nord 2 is a big fat no. But I don't know if this is going to be a big fat no forever. What I think is we ought to just cut ties as far as sourcing anything from Russia. I think we need to source things as the United States. I think we need, if we're gonna import shit, we need to import shit from people who are friendly to us.
Yes, allies like Canada, like we had the original the Keystone Pipeline.
Keystone Pipeline. See, I think I was confused about that. I'm not sure what oil sands. I don't know the difference. Crude oil, you got oil from the oil sands. There's different qualities of oil. Like everything that we do in the United States, all the oil that we produce, we send it somewhere else. But then we get, using that money, we get oil from other places that we can use.
The oil sands, that's a really crazy thing because it's literally like sand and oil, and it takes a process to break it down. And it's a little bit more expensive than just like, hey, I'm going to like drill offshore and pull like pure crude out of the ocean, pretty much. I'm hitting my microphone again. But
so let me see. But it's already built. I'm thinking, Nate, you were talking about the Keystone Pipeline. It wasn't complete. It could be complete. I'm not sure what the construction timeline was, but that was going to employ thousands of people, at least for the construction, and then
it got canceled. Canada already has set up a new pipeline that goes out to I think through British Columbia, if I'm not mistaken.
And it goes out west. Okay.
Yeah, it'll go that way, and then they'll ship it down through the Panama Canal, which makes absolutely like environmentally speaking, like the whole thing makes no sense. We canceled the Keystone because we were worried about the environment, but now you're just shipping it through the ocean, through the Panama Canal up to the refineries of the Gulf. Makes no sense. But
it costs more money.
Yes, it makes absolutely no sense. It was a feel-good kind of like, hey, we're going to save the environment, like save these turtles, and
So who's the Navy SEAL Houston congressman?
Oh, eye patch
guy.
Eye patch guy. Yeah. I don't. To be honest with you, I'm not sure about
someone's gonna
Dan Kershaw.
Kershaw. I've got like 2 of his books sitting on. Those are 2 of the books that I haven't read.
I'm just iffy about that guy.
I'm iffy about him. I think he writes fantastically. But Dan Kershaw posted something like, "Hey, if we had, the Keystone Pipeline would handle whatever we're going to lack from getting from Russia." But I was reading some things like, okay, the Keystone Pipeline was mainly for exported oil or for export oil. But I think I misunderstood
it was Keystone was Canadian oil coming through to get refined in the United States to be exported.
Correct.
It would have created a ton of jobs. It would have created a ton of jobs for people in the States. But the issue was it ran through some Native American land, and that's bad. I don't agree with that, but
yeah,
they could have worked something out.
Exactly. Work something out. Quit fucking with the Indians, man. Right?
Yeah. But I don't know. The whole thing just makes no sense to me because now they've run it like completely out of the way. And I mean, I think we got a couple of refineries in Alaska. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, it's just making oil travel across the ocean for no reason at all when it could just hit our refineries
down the coast of California.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the Panama Canal, which is owned by China. Thank you, Jimmy Carter. And then it comes into the United States. So look at the record profits, and this is from the chat. Look at the record profits from American oil companies and follow the money. Petroleum products aren't just for gasoline. I mean, everything in your life. Look at everything in your life. 99% of that stuff is as a result of the processing and refining of petroleum products. Your electronics, of course, the gasoline that goes in your car, the oil that lubricates your machines, everything.
Your computer that you're using in your phone right now has some sort of petroleum product in it. Hell, even the windmills and the freaking solar panels have some sort of petroleum product in it.
A lot of them. But yes, they are making profits. I don't care about how much money a company makes. I would hope that they would be more.
I mean, ExxonMobil pays their employees a hell of a lot better than Amazon does.
True, absolutely true. And we talked about this about petroleum as far as college degrees. What college degree is worthwhile now? Because we talked about student loan debt. We need to consider that, petroleum engineering, those types of jobs are in demand, and they're always going to be in demand. I don't care what you think about saving the planet. We need to get off of fossil fuels. Yeah, we might, but dude,
I'll present an argument really quick. Everyone wants to go green, but then when you mention nuclear power, everyone freaking loses their mind over the shit because they're like thinking Chernobyl, Fukushima, like crazy shit like that. And those are two incidents. Chernobyl was probably like the worst, and that's part of this whole Russian thing people aren't talking about right now is Russians taking over like the whole Chernobyl exclusion zone. But I'm
not sure what the reason for that was.
I don't know, but I guess it was strategic. It's a strategic position. I can't remember where in Ukraine Chernobyl is located, but
how many E4s did they send up there? Okay, your place of duty is the exclusion zone outside of Chernobyl.
Oh, dear Lord.
Maybe the roads aren't, and I've seen some documentaries of the roads aren't bad, but when you get into the woods, that's where all the radiation is kind of hanging out. For whatever reason, it attaches itself to trees and grass and stuff, and it's not so much.
It's better than moving over the muddy terrain that they got right now, because I guess the stoves melted a little early and everything's muddy from what I've been reading, and an old road is better than no road.
So we got a bunch of stuff happening over in Ukraine, but there's hero stories already. We're 2 days into this? This is the second day? Third day?
Thursday morning their time. So it would have been Wednesday night for us, I guess. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the time difference is.
So the one that kind of stood out for me was a heroic deed of sailor Vitaly Skakun. I'm butchering his name. But he slowed down the advance of occupiers on the island of Crimea. He blew up the bridge. He blew up a bridge, and it cost him his own life, stopping the advancing movement of the tank column. Dude wired a bridge to blow, and he couldn't do it from afar, so he just kind of did it himself while he was there.
Yeah. He just radioed his dudes. From what I read, he radioed his dudes, says, "Hey, I got to do this." But I guess the Russians were moving across the bridge.
Yeah, he didn't have enough time to say, "Hey, here's my idea." He just did it. And that dude is a hero. I mean, that is a hero. If you want a hero for your country, that's it. You heard about that old lady?
Sunflowers.
The old lady with the sunflowers? So
put these in your pocket so when you die, at least some flowers will grow.
so the story reads, a brave Ukrainian woman voiced the outrage of her nation as she confronted heavily armed Russian soldiers and demanded to know what they were doing in her country. The woman shouted at two of the invaders, and she said, quote, "What the fuck are you doing on our land?" One of the Russian soldiers tried to calm her down. She walked away, and then she called back, "You should put sunflower seeds in your pocket so that they will grow on Ukrainian land after you die," end quote. The thing is, that's a ballsy-ass woman who has seen some shit.
I'm pretty sure most Ukrainians have seen some crazy-ass shit in their life. It's not like, like unicorns, kittens like we have over here where, I mean, it's a pretty rough life living over that way.
And we've got some friends of the station, a friend of the station that is from Moldova, which is just a little bit southwest of Ukraine. It's like right next door. And she's just like, she actually stopped paying attention to the news because it's all bullshit.
I mean, it is. It is. All sides it is. I mean, I've heard reports through Reddit, which Reddit is not really a reliable source, but people saying that the Russian propaganda machine is claiming that they're trying to end neo-Nazism and drug addicts and weird shit.
They actually said that the reason why they're going into Ukraine is to stop Nazism, which is like a buzzword in the United States at least. And like overseas, like in the UK, in the EU, that you're a Nazi and that's a bad thing, and that word is thrown out so much. If you disagree with someone, you must be a Nazi. Kind of, it minimizes the meaning of the word Nazi. While there are a lot of Nazis, I guess, in Ukraine and everywhere. I mean, but dude, the entire country, the president of Ukraine is a freaking, he's Jewish. If it was a Nazi,
movie actor,
and
he's also a movie actor.
He was like a sitcom actor a few years ago.
About being the president of Ukraine.
Exactly, and now he's actually the president of Ukraine. So. And he's got balls of steel, man. He's in Kiev, and I have no idea what the latest news is. I think those in Kiev are in for a long night. But he's out there with the troops and with his advisors and stuff on the streets of Kiev, leading from the front, which is pretty badass.
Oh, I'm gonna interject here, Holly. Let them have that morale booster. Let them have it.
What did she say?
It's the ghost of Kiev. It might be true, it might be not, and who knows, but let them have some, morale behind that. That's a morale booster at that point.
That is a super morale booster, and I want so much for it to be true. I said the story of the ghost of Kiev is a good one. It's a damn good one. But I'm hearing that it's false. And I really, 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 really want this to be true.
You might be hearing it's false through another form of propaganda. At a point, it might be real. We don't know what's going on.
We really don't. And even ICE was talking about, we need like embeds down there that are actually giving real-time communication back to the major news networks, so it can be accurately reported. We really don't know.
Information I'm getting is like live TikToks, and some of them are just scam accounts where it's a dude breathing heavy and like, I'm gonna die, and nothing's happening, and people are sending him money. So I'm like, why? But then there's some stuff on TikTok where you're actually sitting there watching and shit's blowing up. You're like, oh, that's crazy as shit,
I saw someone posted a TikTok video, and it was like it was a mortar attack. I recognize those sounds, but someone was like videotaping their backyard, and then a mortar hit, and then they go through the house, and they go through another window, and then another mortar hit, and you can hear the mortars hit, and that's exactly what they sound like. So I'm like, okay, is this true? Is this not true? Is this current? Because these folks have been fighting for a long time. And who knows where these videos came from? They're not sourced. They're not like, here, my name is so and so, and this is where I'm at. So I don't know what's true or not. It's very tittillating. A lot of these videos are super titillating. You just want to watch them. And one that I saw was that fucking tank that drove. Unprovoked, just
yeah.
left turn, drove over this car.
I posted a video in kind of team room. It's like several different angles of this happening, and some people were claiming, "Oh, he threw a track and he just happened to you don't just randomly throw a track."
He didn't throw a track. He didn't throw a track at all.
He ran over and backed off and drove the hell off. That's not a throw in a track. That thing. The person who got crushed in that actually survived.
They survived there. I saw a picture of this destroyed ass car and his head's poking out the middle of it.
Baconator, I can actually explain it to you, is because there are actual Nazis kind of active in Ukraine.
Yeah, like very much so. Like with the Nazi flag and everything.
There's an actual National Guard group that I think was it CBS or one of the evening news stations was like hyping it up, like these soldiers are training the civilians to use guns and stuff like that, and they have their patches on. I'm like, wait a minute, that looks very familiar, and I had to go look it up. I was like, wait a minute, that's Nazi symbolism, and I did some research on it. Yeah, they're a group of neo-Nazis, but they're training their civilians to fight off an invasion.
Yeah,
I mean,
take what you can take, man.
I mean, if I'm gonna get like if China's running over me, and someone's like helping me to defend, I don't really care at this point who you are. It turns into a country matter at that point. We can figure that issue out later.
So Holly asked also, I have a stupid civilian question regarding Snake Island, and I'm going to get to this in a second. Is it normal to tell the enemy to surrender instead of just taking them out? Yes.
Yes, actually, that's part of I believe that's part of the Geneva Convention, where you have to announce your intentions before you do it. Like, hey, we're about to do this. You should surrender. And they were just, go fuck yourselves.
So, I mean, a lot of you are probably going to know this story, but if you haven't heard, 13 border guards stationed on Snake Island, a roughly 40-acre rocky island owned by Ukraine, sits about 186 miles west of Crimea. Russian troops bombed the shit out of them on Thursday. All 13 soldiers died after refusing to surrender. The radio transmission went something like this. This is a Russian military warship. I suggest you lay down your weapons and surrender to avoid bloodshed and needless casualties. Otherwise, you will be bombed. After a short period of silence, a Ukrainian officer responded, "Russian warship, go fuck yourself." The rest is history. So, in that exchange, 13 border guards did perish, and every one of them are heroes. And even President Zelensky from Ukraine said that they're heroes defending their country, and they didn't give up.
Modern day Alamo is the way I would apply it. Like, they were like, screw it, come and get us. And I mean, I've seen the video. There's a video of them last couple minutes of, I guess they're like, hey, they're shooting at the rocks. I don't know if they're trying to scare us, and it just kind of cuts off after that. So I don't know what really happened there, but I mean, I know they looked at the Russian warship and they were like, well, go fuck yourselves. That's what they said. So.
And that battleship was hauling ass. It was moving at a pretty good clip too. So if that wasn't badass enough for you, hang in for this story. Russian computer users trying to access Pornhub were presented with a message that says, "This content is currently blocked," along with a message of support for Ukraine and a picture of the Ukrainian flag.
Not all heroes wear capes.
That was. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is awesome. I was trying to grab some screen caps, maybe if someone had taken one of. I can't get to my porn.
Oh, your search history is now tainted.
The thing is, I tried to keep this new computer pretty pristine, using it only for broadcast stuff, but it's really fast and the graphics are really awesome. But I always end up forgetting what computer I'm on, so my search history is.
You just need a NAS. You just need, set one up so everything's in one location and you can access it from all your computers.
Yeah, Yeah. No prawn for you, Ivan. That's funny as fuck, Musa. So I don't know how this is going to go. I really don't. I don't know at what point the United States gets involved or NATO. It's not a United States. It's not a United States versus Russia thing. This is a NATO versus Russia thing.
Yeah, well, we are a member of NATO, so I mean, everyone.
I mean, yeah, we are. And if Russia decides to go further than Ukraine,
I think if they fuck with Poland, that's when shit will get fucking real at that point.
I read a story that there are troops about 10 miles away from the border of Poland.
We got troops about 10 miles from the border of Poland. I mean, Russia, but I mean, Fourth Infantry. I got homeboys in the Fourth Infantry. Steadfast and loyal guys. Just keep doing it. But mechanized. That's the way to go.
I was one of my engineers. He got out of the Army and he got his engineer degree, and he's one of my engineers, and he was stationed in he did time in Romania and time in Poland, and he's pretty freaking confident, with our troops there and the Polish troops there and the Romanian troops there, they can handle their shit.
The Russians want to fuck with any of the Poles, because I've heard the Poles are fucking crazy in their own sense. So I mean,
so what about China? I mean, all this stuff is going on, and we're
I heard some crazy shit about like Taiwan saying like, hey, China's getting frisky over here, and I don't know what we might get involved with that. And that's one that scares me a little bit.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous for Taiwan. Not that, I mean, it's just such a small area. I think that they're already infested with pro-Chinese government folks. So I think that if China decided to make a move on Taiwan, I think that there would be a lot less opposition than we think. I think Taiwan would fight their asses off, but I think that there's so much in Taiwan that is pro-China that there would be, it wouldn't be as drastic a move. And that's just me. That's just me. You got a view on that? I mean, do you think about?
I mean, now would be the perfect time to do it. If I was, CCP, I'd be like pushing for it right now. Honest to God, I would like. If I'm gonna take some territory, now is the time to do it, because you got the U.S. focused on Eastern Europe theater.
Daniel Howard's China's going to be going after the Nazis in Taiwan.
Yeah. That's all we got to do nowadays is say, hey, we're fighting Nazis.
Yeah, I guess. Is that the get out of jail free card?
I guess that's I mean, Trudeau did it with his protesters up there. And
so the word freedom means you're a Nazi. So if you want freedom, that means you're a Nazi. So if you get invaded. So can Mexico invade Texas?
Oh, I would not do that, Mexico. If any of the Mexican government is listening, that would be a very, very bad idea.
I saw a documentary that was talking. It was outlining the top 10 countries that are impossible to overtake, and United States was number 1, and Russia was number 2. United States was number 1 only because of the veteran population. Thank you very much. And the amount of weapons.
The blade behind the blade behind every gun. No, the gun behind every blade of grass.
Exactly. Exactly.
I've seen some really, really ridiculous, like what is it? What do you call it? Like counter narratives from some of these like really liberal leaning sides, especially with this like Ukraine thing going on, and they're like, congratulations, the Ukrainian government's handing out AK-47s to 10,000 civilians, and not even like 4 years ago they were saying, why would anyone need to own a weapon of war?
Oh, dude, what is that guy's name on Twitter? He was banned for like a day or two, but he does a lot of these counter views of things that people said a year ago versus, or 2 years ago versus things that they say now, and they're 180 degrees out.
It's pure mental gymnastics. You know, just like you know, there's a Facebook group on here. Was it 98% or something? The other 98% or something like that.
Okay.
Some of the stuff they post is like straight brain cancer, and now they're like all like supporting like Ukraine and stuff like that. Just like
It just, you don't hold, your argument doesn't hold water because you don't apply that to the country that you're from.
yeah, it's just like, okay, I understand. I'm like, yay, you support Ukraine, congratulations. But you know, like a year or two ago, you were saying that, you know, people don't need to be able to defend themselves with weapons of war and weird stuff like that. And I think I don't even want to get into that freaking conversation right now. I mean, just go on the internet and you could look up the hypocrisy floating around. There's plenty of it. I mean, I'm still trying to get one verified and from our current commander in chief.
Oh no, I'm going to confirm that right now. Yes, he absolutely did say that. There's video of him out there. And it's funny because the video that I saw was President Biden saying that, which is he doesn't want me to be president. He doesn't want me to be the nominee. And I'm wondering why. It's because I'm the only person in the field who has ever gone toe to toe with him. And then it cuts away to another video of, and it's not because of this conversation, but it's another video of Vladimir Putin laughing his ass off.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, it's true. He actually did say that. So hey, we're gonna take a break really quick, and when we come back, we're gonna have Marc Liebman on the show. Awesome dude. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a little bit.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Suck me in, we play this game and no replace me.
This is Randy Couture, and you're listening to WTF Nation Radio.
I'm down, down, down to nothing. Feeling alone. I'm lost, lost, lost without you. Since you've been gone. Checked my phone too many times. Played your voice inside my head. Can't dream at night when you're not in my bed. Tossing and turning, burning, yearning for your love. Don't think I don't know where you lie. Don't think you know where I hide. I see you, I see her, I see everything. I see the ugly truth in my dream. You're up to something and leaving a mess. I read those letters where you confess. Checked your phone too many times. Played her voice inside my head. Can't dream at night when she's there in your bed. Tossing and turning, burning, yearning for her love. Don't think I don't know where you lie. Don't think you know where I hide. I see you, I see her, I see everything. I see the ugly truth in my dreams. Don't think I don't know where you lie. Don't think you know where I hide. I see you, I see her, I see everything. I see the ugly truth in my dream. Dream on, 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 dream on. Don't think I don't know where you lie. Don't think you know where I hide. I see you, I see her, I see everything. I see the ugly truth in my dreams. Don't think I don't know where you lie. Don't think you know where I hide. I see you, I see her, I see everything. I see the ugly truth in my dream.
WTF Nation Radio.
Oh, now's where I talk over this because this is going to be a copyright violation if I don't. Yay, we're back for part 2 of Friday Night Freedom. My name is Cuz, and that is Pookie. Let me do this thing here. There we are. We are back for part 2 of Friday Night Freedom here on the 25th day of February 2022. Our guest, Marc Liebman, has not called in yet, so maybe he will now. Maybe that was him trying to call, and I was not going to calls at the time that someone was calling in. I have no idea who it was. I was expecting a Texas area code, and that's not what I saw. So here we are. We're back. Pookie, you said that you were seeing something, some information.
Yeah, I guess apparently NATO is this. I'm seeing 5 hours ago. NATO's getting into it pretty much. I'm trying to get more information on it. I don't know if it's just like old news or new news. I mean, I've got like friends from like 4th Infantry Division that are telling me some crazy stuff. I don't know what's really going on.
Yeah, I don't know what we should say or what we should not say. I'd rather wait for an official release rather than a buddy going, "Hey, dude, we're going in tonight, man."
Yeah. I mean,
so I responded to Natalia, who was a guest on the Monday show. She had posted something about NATO, and I'm like, dude, if NATO's going to get involved, I would rather prefer it be sooner than later, because I'm thinking if NATO doesn't get involved, Kiev's going to fall tonight. Only because of the volume of weaponry and people, soldiers that Russia has, and if they're pushing into Kiev, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, and it really sucks to see this happen.
The real issue that actually I think spawned all this was Ukraine was in talks with NATO becoming a NATO nation, right?
Yes, very much so.
And Russia was just like, hey, we don't want that, and you're pushing all closer and closer. You're infringing closer and closer to our borders at this point. And I mean, if Ukraine wanted to be part of NATO, that's their business at that point. They're a sovereign nation, so I don't.
They are. They declared themselves, and it was widely accepted way back in the 90s. So why not? And since Ukraine is fighting so hard against Russia, I mean, there is no more litmus test more valid than this. This entire operation, this entire effort to overtake Ukraine it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for me, but to see that the spirit that Ukraine is fighting back, I mean, who would not want them on NATO's side? Why would NATO not want them?
Yeah, I really do believe that every sovereign nation has a right to defend itself against an oppressor at that point.
Yeah.
And
it's not like Ukraine was trying to take over Russia. They just want to exist in peace with a democratic-ish government.
But I mean, that's their choice at that point. That's the government that they choose. I mean, then fine. Yeah, I'm trying to get information on this.
Dig deep. So everyone knows what the hell's going on. So there's the I got the Putin Hitler. Someone did a pretty good Photoshop of that. But yeah, and here's Russia, and here are their lines of attack, and these are, according to Russia, they're for humanitarian purposes to get rid of the Nazis in a country that's led by a Jewish person who used to be a sitcom actor playing the part of the Ukraine president, and now he is the Ukraine president, and he's a badass, man. He is a badass.
Isn't that mayor heavyweight boxing champ or some crap like that, a Hall of Famer? That he's like, him and his brother both are like big boxers, and they're like, yeah, we're fighting.
They're gonna fight. Where was that? I saw that. Is that in our news chat?
I posted it in the news chat when I first heard about it earlier today, and I was like, that's pretty badass.
Oh, there it is. Kleshko? The Kleshko brothers. The Kleshko, and this is a Reuters story. Former heavyweight boxing champion Vitaly Klitschko said that he would take up arms alongside his brother and fellow Hall of Famer Vladimir Klitschko to fight what is a bloody war following Russia's invasion for their home country in Ukraine. everybody, I mean, I have not seen in my lifetime, like, other than like the Taliban, take up arms against an invader, which was us, right? So these are these insurgents? I guess it all depends on what your point of view is. It really, I mean, are the Ukrainians now the insurgents? Are they the bad guys? Are they the good guys? Someone's coming into their country trying to...
I mean, Ukraine never attacked anyone or provoked anything, unlike Afghanistan, where, you know, there was leaders of a terrorist group that attacked sovereign soil of the United States during 9/11.
Right.
That's the difference.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Gotcha.
Ukraine's just over here minding their own business, like, leave me the hell alone, go fuck yourself, and, you know, they're getting bombed and shit. So, I mean...
So if someone were to mistakenly invade the United States, would we be the insurgents? Would we be the Taliban?
Oh, there'd be plenty of insurgents.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think that there would be
fringe groups running all over the place, causing havoc at that point.
I think it would be a bad fucking day for anybody who decides to invade the United States. Likewise, if someone were to invade the Soviet Union, I think it would be a bad day for whoever would try to do that. Or China. I can't say China without hearing Donald Trump's voice. China.
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 Do I still have that sound bit? I don't know if I can play it or not.
Do you have it?
Hold on, give me a sec. See if I can find it.
But I guess, you know, one person's insurgent is... Say it again? Do it again.
China.
One person's insurgent is another one's freedom fighter. I mean...
I've heard that so many times. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. You know, I mean, that kind of boils back to the whole IRA crap back in early 1900s and crap like that. But,
So let's just say, for instance, that Vladimir Putin, who has been in view for a long time because President Bush 43, he called him Pooty Poot. They were buddies and they talked, which is fine. I mean, you talked to world leaders. So President Bush 43 was with Putin. And
you're talking about W.
W.
Okay, gotcha.
And I really wish Ice was here to do his impersonation. I can't do that because I sound more like Beavis.
Just turn on the on switch.
But Putin's been there. He may have not been the HMFIC of Russia, but he's been there in a point of influence ever since Bush. So that's through Clinton, through Obama, through Trump, and now into the Biden presidency. That's a long ass time.
I thought there was a flip flop somewhere in there where
there was a flip flop, and we had Medvedev was the president for a while, but then it's all back to Putin. He is. You know, Shelley says, you know, he's old school KGB. Yeah, he is. I don't believe now. I definitely don't believe. There was always suspicion, you know, trust but verify. Nah, no, there's you say one thing and then absolutely do another here. And that's just not it. It's just I don't trust that fucker as far as
1970s like CIA fucking tactics and shit.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna not invade your country. Don't mind me while I put 100,000 troops on a border.
No, we're just it's a bivouac. We're doing a bivouac right next to your country. So yeah, I think Shelley and Ripley is absolutely correct. He's trying to institute the old Soviet Union. He's trying to grab all that land back that he lost due to people just going no.
It's like living like millennial nostalgia at this point. Like, hey, I remember the good old days when this land was part of my big empire, and I want it back now.
And it's just land, and I think there's probably some resources in Ukraine. I have no idea what resources of that you.
Give me a sec. I'll look that up.
Ukraine
I'm actually
has.
going to look that up real quick.
Please do. Please do, because there's got to be something there. Immediately, my mind goes towards shipping. I mean, because if you cut out that long road, you can have immediate shipping channels into the Black Sea. So I wonder what the map. And I'm going to pull this up in a different window where no one can see.
The number one is cereals. Iron is number two. Vegetables, oil, fats, ores, slag, ash, electrical machinery, machinery including computers, oil seeds, food, industrial waste, animal fodder, fertilizer, wood, and articles of iron and steel. That's their top 10 exports. So that makes no sense to me at this point.
Did you say cereal? Like
cereals, or they're not like food is their number one, like grains and stuff like that.
So you got the Baltic Sea to the north of Poland. So yeah, there's shipping channels there. God damn, that's just how nervous are you if you live in Poland or any neighbor of Russia? The minute that they decide that they want you.
No, the Pools ain't gonna play around with that. I know they ain't gonna play around with that shit. And NATO, I don't even think like NATO at that point is gonna play around. Like, hey, you touch Poland at this point, you're done at this. It's done. I really do believe that we're going full blown superpower war, and it scares the living piss out of me at that point.
So Poland is definitely
that's a no-fly zone at that point. You don't touch Poland. You don't.
Germany. I don't think they would push far to Germany. I think it would be
Germany would fight back. That's the thing. Germany's got some decent freaking tanks and shit, man. They'll fight back.
I've got a German pump that I work with. It's called a Rexroth, and that's the biggest piece of shit that I've ever worked with. But I've also worked with a big German. It's a mill. It's an end mill. And dude, that is like the most solid piece of equipment. We've had it since it's the born on date is like 1960 something, and it was made in Germany, and it's the most solid piece of equipment that I've ever used. But then I've also got a German piece of equipment called the Rexroth that is just horrible. It's horribly manufactured. It's just the engineering behind it just sucks.
The best blacksmith anvils you can get your hands on are come from Germany, actually.
Anvils? I mean, that's just a chunk of steel.
That's a chunk of steel, but like you think about it, steel is steel, and like steel is very specific. You can have a Chinese anvil and you get hit with a hammer, it'll split right in half.
No shit. Okay.
A German anvil, like there's this thing on an anvil called a rebound, where like you hit a hammer, go bing, and it'll bounce back automatically, kind of. So, like, you take a ball bearing on a Chinese anvil, it'll hit, it'll just stop. With a German anvil, you'll hit it, that shit will bounce up almost to the same height that you dropped it at.
No shit. That's cool.
Yes.
Okay, so Russia. Let's talk about Russia. Estonia borders it. Latvia. Let me see. Belarus, which is already kind of Russian. There's Russian sympathizers, the majority. Ukraine. And that's about it. But on the other side of Belarus and Lithuania and Ukraine is Poland. So Poland's got to be nervous because they've got Russian soldiers on the border of Poland, and that's probably in Belarus.
So as I was saying, we've got U.S. personnel in Poland right now.
Yes, we do.
I'm trying to pull up the map too, so I can look at it.
Where's Romania? Slovakia.
Romania.
Is that in Slovakia? Is that considered Slovakia?
No, Romania is its own country. Let me see here.
Hungary is there. Romania is right next to Moldova, and then it's just south of Ukraine.
You got Bulgaria, Moldova, Ukraine actually touches part of Romania. Hungary, Slovakia, Belarus, which I think Belarus is pretty much Russia at this point, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but
no, I think that the influence of the Russian influence has been in Belarus for a long damn time.
Finland's probably freaking losing their mind right now.
Finland is an interesting country because they actually stated that their membership in in NATO is basically, if they want to, they can. So I think right now that the UN ought to, or not the UN, damn it, the NATO. I think NATO ought to say, okay, Finland, you want in?
Oh
Ukraine,
yeah,
Ukraine, you want in, and that would kind of nullify what the fuck Putin is doing. And I'm fucking spitballing here. I'm hoping that something like that happens.
Historically, the Russians have tried to invade Finland many of times, and Finland has just pretty much knocked them back. Like get the fuck off my shit, like go fuck yourselves.
Okay, I'm looking at a map. Where is Finland in relation to Poland?
Finland is way away from Poland. Finland's
it's way north. I see that. Estonia. Yeah. Estonia across the water, and there's Finland. Okay.
They're a stone shot away from St. Petersburg, and Moscow is like right down the road from St. Petersburg.
Yeah, Finland would be a great I want to say United Nations. It's not NATO. A good NATO country. Sweden is always the in the middle person, they don't pick sides, they just do their shit.
Well, if you wanted to live anywhere in the world right now, I think Switzerland would probably be the best place.
Really?
They've managed to stay out of 2 world wars somehow.
Yeah, but it's just, if you got to, these bad things are happening. Do you want to take a side? Well, what do you say? Hurdy.
Yeah, go into Switzerland. They actually have, from what I understand, I don't know, I might be wrong. I might be confusing it with Sweden. I might be wrong. It's either Switzerland or Sweden. They make it mandatory militia conscription. That anyone that's 18 years old, they actually have to go to a basic training and learn how to fire a rifle.
I know one of those countries, they give you a damn weapon.
Yeah, they give you a rifle and you have to train on it constantly. So if your grandfather passes away, those old rifles fall into your possession. But you're required to train every year. I gotta look it up now. Give me a sec.
So I'm gonna invite Jay Ready to call in. He's been flashing me messages, and I can't I can't read them in time because they show up and they disappear.
I've been seeing his messages, and I'm he said something to me, and I was like, all right, well, let me look it up. I don't want to just go like spitting insanity, unless I've got some sort of source. But I've been off the actual real news network for about 4 hours a day, so I'm about 4 hours behind on everything.
I actually, on purpose, pulled up a CBS, NBC, those types of news briefings when the morning that these things were happening, and Jen Psaki gave a really, really good news conference just based on she was relaying what President Biden was saying, or what the administration's not purpose was, but their position was, and she did an outstanding job. These are the things, and she's like bullet, and she just went through them, answered all the questions. She did a really good job. I love to drag her across the coals because she kind of carries the torch for someone who, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the position that they're at, but man, she did a really good job relaying information. So I'm going to invite Jay Ready to call in. 415-889-8367. You probably still say those numbers in your sleep. I don't think she's great. I think that I think she's good at what she does, but I think it's very dishonest. I appreciate the information that she was giving, though. I don't hate on her. It's just, it's like any press secretary. You kind of just, if you don't personally agree with the direction that the message is going, you're just like, fuck her, peppermint patty, blah. But then when she's giving information that applies to everybody at the same time, and information about global events that are happening, I think that she did a really good job. Yeah, Sean Spicer was bad. Huckabee was nah. Yeah, I think the best press secretary was probably Tony Snow that I've ever seen in my lifetime. In my lifetime, I really appreciated Tony Snow.
That's like a suicidal career job. I would never take it.
No, I wouldn't, because you're kind of screwed, because whatever administration you serve, you've already diminished your audience by at least 50% because of what your previous job was. So Tony Snow was a Fox reporter, and then he became the press secretary, and then he wasn't the press secretary anymore, and then of course he got sick with the cancer and he died. But with any press secretary, that just kind of, maybe your opinion will be solicited later on in life, but what are you Googling, bro?
I'm still trying to look up if it's like the Swiss or the Swedes that do this weird militia thing. I saw in the comments someone said, I think this is Swiss. It might be the Swiss. But it's pretty much, if you're a male, you turn 18, you get basic combat training, and here's your rifle, and then you leave, and that's it.
I would say that would be Switzerland. That sounds like a Switzerland type thing.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Sweden or Switzerland. Someone said in the chats it sounded like Switzerland, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not gonna say,
So with all this push by Putin, do you think it'd stop at Ukraine, or if he'd go to Poland? I mean, there's Romania and Poland are kind of in the bad zone, like the next door neighbor to Ukraine.
I mean, I hate to say it, but megalomania is a thing.
Yeah.
And once you get a taste of that, hey, I can do this shit, no one's gonna do anything to me.
And that's how Hitler was allowed to do what the fuck he did.
Exactly. That's where I was gonna go with it. Hitler was like, oh, I'm gonna go to Poland. All right, I'm gonna go. Was it Austria? He's like, just steamrolled Austria. And everyone was like, hey, we're back into the Prussian blah blah bull crap again, and and then it just spiraled out of control at that point. And no one. That's the reason why we have NATO. The League of Nations was kind of supposed to prevent what Hitler did, and the League of Nations kind of is doing what NATO's doing right now, kind of like, well, we ain't gonna do shit.
Did League of Nations evolve into NATO?
That's kind of, from what I learned in school, that's kind of like how it happened. Was NATO was against the Russians. So you had the UN kind of thing pop up, the United Nations and stuff. It's kind of but NATO.
To answer the question in the chat, yes, Poland is a NATO country. They joined in 1999.
I remember that was a big thing back in the day. Everyone was losing their, Russia was losing their minds about that crap. They're like, the same way with Ukraine right now. But it's just. No, the League of Nations was kind of like a UN kind of setup. NATO was kind of against the Soviets. It was kind of like a buffer. Hey, we're going to keep the Soviet Union from steamrolling Europe at that point. All Cold War shit.
Norway has been a member for forever. Poland 1999, Portugal 49. Romania 2004, Slovakia 2004, Slovenia 2004. Let me see, Turkey, they're close. They've been a NATO nation since 1952. Montenegro. I got a funny story about Montenegro. My daughter didn't think that was a real place. She's like, that just sounds stupid. So she didn't believe Montenegro was a real country, but yeah, they've been a member since 2017.
It's a tiny little country.
It's like a sliver.
There's a really tiny country between Spain and Portugal, like a really tiny. I can't remember the name of it. It's like no bigger than the size of Rome, I think, but it's considered a country. I gotta go look this up. Oh, what's the name of that?
Between where? Italy? Did you say Italy?
I think it was between Andorra. It's between France and Spain. That's it. It's this like little tiny country, state.
Yeah, Andorra.
Yeah. I thought it was between.
Andorra. Oh my gosh, that is so small. That's like as big as the block that I live on.
It's probably no bigger than Rome at that point, but a lot of people don't realize Rome is its own technical city-state.
Okay, question in the chat, and you're gonna Google this. Wasn't Montenegro part of former Yugoslavia? Where's Yugoslavia? I'm like, maybe I should put my screen on this. What I'm looking at. See, there's Moldova, Romania, Bulgaria.
So is one part of the country became a kingdom, World War I, blah 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 blah. It became part of the following breakup of the Yugoslavia, the Republic of Serbia and Montenegro together established a federation known as Federation of Republic.
Oh my gosh, that's like Kosovo,
mm-hmm.
And then Bosnia Herzegovina, North Macedonia.
Some really tiny countries float like I would really just call them city states at that point because they just got like a capital.
Yeah, why not? Montenegro, I'll bet you that's beautiful, dude. It's on the Adriatic Sea. Oh man, I bet you that's fucking awesome. It's almost like it's like the Persian Gulf, but in Europe. Because you got Italy on one side, and then Slovenia, Croatia, Sarajevo, in Bosnia, Montenegro, and then Albania, and then Greece. I've never been. I mean, I've flew into and out of Germany. So Shelley says Montenegro is in the Balkans. Yes, it is.
There's a couple of videos floating around from ABC saying NATO activates response force.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. I can't really listen to videos right now.
Do you put on your blue helmet and then go and like monitor traffic?
I don't know if they're sending ammunition. I got a video here from ABC News. They're talking about it. I mean, there's another video that I saw where it's like, I guess one of the heads of NATO was talking about this is an atrocity against the freedoms and democracy of Ukraine, blah, blah, blah. You know how these big political talking heads, over complicate shit.
What they do is they issue this word salad of things that they want to do, and then no one knows what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, Jesus. Is that me or you?
That sounds like...
Oh, that's me. Where is that? WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
I can. Where are you?
I'm in a car. I'm at the airport. It don't matter. But look, I just want to, before your guest comes on, I've been trying to get a hold of you all fucking night. They are sending fucking NATO in right fucking now, and fucking Putin, he said to Finland, all those other borders countries, he said, if you fucking join NATO, you're done, son. He's threatening nuclear. That NATO did a huge press conference today. Dude, I've been watching this shit all day. I got a buddy on ground fucking right this second. Like, bro, they're going the fuck in. And it's not just fucking blue hats. U.S. has the majority troops. We have a fuck ton. And we have fucking F-22s in the fucking air.
Are they in the air, or are they just in like Romania or Poland or wherever they're at?
No, they crossed the fucking border, man. It's on the fucking news.
I'm doing a show. I can't watch the news, bro.
Well, I know. I love you, but y'all, goddamn. Look, I don't care who you fucking pray to. I don't give a fuck who you pray to. Just pray there's no fucking nukes, man, because this is the closest we've ever gotten.
I think the doomsday clock is very, very close, and I'm very understating this. If it would suck if they lobbed a nuke toward the United States or toward a European country.
I think it's going to be a European country, and so they had the fucking Security Council today. The clutch is everybody was in favor to say fuck this Russian shit, but the head of that Security Council is the Russian Federation. He's the president.
He is, yeah.
And he vetoed the shit. He's like, all right. Everybody said, all right, fuck you. We're going to go to NATO. NATO came out and said, we're fucking sending people in. They were sending Stingers and they were sending Javelins. And they just fucking sent them in, dude. It's like brand fucking new. I know you're on the radio, but this is huge, man.
I'm watching the video right now.
I know. I love you. I just wanted to fucking throw that out there, and you'll see it when you get done. I love y'all. Look, if we don't fucking make it, bro, it was a pleasure. That's all I'm saying.
I love you, Jay Reddy.
All right, bro.
I love you, man.
Peace.
Thank you.
I was just watching a video from 2 hours ago. ABC News. NATO response forces activated. They're sending troops. I guess the majority of them are U.S. troops. I don't know if they're crossing borders or not, but no.
We just had the 174th coming from Italy into, where did they go? They went to Romania. Are they sending those guys in?
They're pulling troops from Greece. They're pulling we've got troops damn near everywhere.
Yeah, we do. We're well prepared.
Why didn't I get a cool
we're well prepared,
Greece
but
or Italy or some shit like that? I got Iraq. Come on, man.
We're really well prepared globally, but then how do you piss off a soldier going, no, dude? Yeah, I know this is the weekend, but we need to get your ass on a plane after you pull your combat load, and you're gonna go.
There's a couple of the COs where my mom works at the correctional facility that have been pulled for active duty. They're National Guard pretty much. Well, no, the reserves. I'll say reserves. They've been pulled out and they're not working they've been sent over to Poland pretty much. Yeah, so it's getting crazy. It's spicy. I don't know. Like I said, I got to sit down and actually listen to these videos. It's hard to do this and watch the video at the same time.
It is, right? So Shelley asks, are we allowed to go and fight with other countries? Well, as in the case of NATO, the United States is in an agreement that if anybody attacks a NATO country, it's like attacking your own country. So yes, the answer is yes.
Wait. So I think what Shelley was saying is, can I go and enlist for another country to fight? No?
Oh, I don't know.
I know there's this thing called the French Foreign Legion.
The French Foreign Legion is the first thing that came to mind. Yeah.
Yes, you could do that, but I don't know if there's implications about coming back to the United States. I don't know how that works.
She says I'm 50, but I'm willing to be a speed bump for a tank.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that I knew that went and fight for the Peshmerga.
In Iraq.
Yeah, the Kurds.
Yeah.
I knew a bunch of guys that did that. They got decent money actually doing that. Weirdly enough, but I don't know what implications would apply coming back to the States at that point. I don't know at that point.
That's a whole other.
That's
a whole other.
Frown upon you fighting for another nation.
Or there would be it would be something like this going, hey, you really shouldn't do that.
I mean, it's not going to stop you.
They're like, hey, you really shouldn't do that. But
because I've heard of stories of like actual American citizens going to fight for like what the fatherland, in Germany, like this was, because they believed in the whole propaganda crap. I've heard of this, but like you're gonna like that's like treason in a sense. So I don't know how that works out.
If you're an American citizen and you decide to go back to Russia, let's say you're a Russian citizen, you immigrated to the United States, and you're like, oh, the motherland they need help, so I'm going to go back to Russia. I'm like, dude, cancel your visa. You ain't coming back. You're either going to die on the battlefield or you're going to stay in Russia. I'm not bringing you back to the United States. I'm well in favor of that.
But yeah, I understand where she said, like, could I go sign up to fight for Ukraine? I was highly suggest not to do it. That's just my opinion. Unless you just don't got nothing better to do. But
so I'm wondering what the Ukrainian, what the Russian populations in the United States are doing. Are they getting together and supporting Putin? I don't think so, because there's a lot of protests outside like the embassy or whatever the fuck in Russia. Like it's not like 20 people. There's like a lot of people protesting in Russia. They're all getting arrested and thrown into a gulag somewhere, but they don't really agree with what Putin's doing. I'm not saying it's like the mass of the population. I'm just saying there's a sizable portion of the population that doesn't agree with this stuff. Have you heard anything about any of the Russian protesters getting arrested? I mean, there's videos out there.
I've read some stuff on
exactly, Shelley. Putin doesn't have the support of his own country. He doesn't. He really doesn't. I don't think he does.
Well, I mean, look, take it back to Iraq, OIF.
Okay.
There was protests when we sent troops over to Iraq.
Yeah, but as soldiers, we were over there going, "This is our fucking job. Let's fucking do it."
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, well, soldiers in Russia don't think the same way. I mean, it's gonna be like a line to draw at this point.
That's a really good point.
Like,
at what point?
Some of them
at what
soldiers
point?
are probably patriotic as shit and be like, "I'm fighting for my nation. I'm doing what's great for my nation." Well, even though I might be dead ass wrong, and I won't even say Iraq was the right thing for the United States to do.
Right.
Like I look back on it now, I'm like, well, when I went over there, I was like, yeah, America. And now I look back, I'm like, yeah, Halliburton.
Never once while I was over there, I was thinking, this is fucked up. This is wrong, because we were doing good shit. We were
look back now, and I'm like, I just made a bunch of people a shit ton of money. That's the way I look at it. Like I might have done the service for my country, but at the bottom line, Halliburton, Lockheed, Boeing, all them sons of bitches were the ones that made out like bandits at that point.
It's kind of the way it goes, though.
Yeah, well, there's always war profiteering. So I mean,
because we got fans of the show that I follow, and I'm like, man, you're bad on you just hammer on the military-industrial complex. But without the military-industrial complex, we wouldn't have the security that we do. We do spend an incredible amount of money, an unfathomable amount of money towards military spending. And it's more than what you see on the budget items. There's so much more than that. I wonder, I kind of wonder how Russia conducts business. They're just like, what I think they're doing is that we're going, okay, you work, we're going to take all of your money, and then we're going to give you what you need to survive. So there's everybody works at their own pace. You all get paid the same. We're going to give you, cheese and bread and crap, whatever the fuck you eat, and anything else you make extra is just like a bonus.
I'm not too like very familiar with the Russian economy. I mean, I've heard like craziness about it. Like people would buy, knowing that there'd be like a recession coming, they'd buy a shit ton of sneakers and then hold on to them because they were more valuable than I guess the rupee, whatever,
Ruble.
whatever,
Ruble. Yeah.
ruble. At that point, they'd be like it. They would use like
That's really funny that you mentioned it because my ex mother-in-law went to Russia for her church thing, and when she showed up in her hotel, she opened up her luggage, and all of her jeans were gone. Someone had taken all of her jeans. This is years ago. This is probably 15 years ago. So apparently, owning jeans in Russia is like a sign of an industrialized, or not industrialized, westernized country. CQ chimed in and says major advancements in medicine and technology come because of war and the military.
I was about to say it. Like I think it was Iron Man 2. I was about to quote Tony Stark on it because he had this like reporter just ripping on him about it. Might have been the first one. I can't remember which one it was, but he pretty much said, "Hey, agricultural, drugs, pharmaceuticals, medical. Like if it wasn't for me investing in this crap, you know, because of the war, you know, or industrial complex or whatever it is, I've made leaps in years with this kind of technology." And she just like, oh, it's the truth though.
The thing is with our soldiers in war, you develop technologies to keep our soldiers alive. When you get shot, there's that whatever the fuck that they put on your body or put in your body that stops you from bleeding out and allows you to get back to Italy or Germany to get patched up. So yeah, I get that. I definitely get that. Halliburton actually has motivational song and video. Oh my gosh. No.
I might have just poked the bear on that one when I went on my little bit of my libertarian came out of me. I apologize on that, but
libertarian. So now we're going to get in politics here.
Politics needs to stay out of this at this point because it's more along the lines of like, hey, we just need to pay attention. Just pay attention to what the fuck is going on. Like, I really want to get into this NATO thing, but I mean, I can't watch it. I'll find out more here probably after the show.
Quick clot. That's it. Thank you. Quick clot.
Quick clot. That's the stuff that would burn the hell out of people.
But now it's like it's no. Is it?
They have this new stuff now. It looks like, you know what fire stop is?
You don't stick a tampon in a gunshot wound and
no, don't do that. Like if you think that's a good method of stopping a bullet hole bleed, you're an idiot. But no, they make this stuff now. It looks like, you know what fire stop is, like the weird spray is. You can actually stick it in a bullet hole and spray it, and it'll expand out and clot everything.
Yeah, it's called Good Stuff. You can get it at Home Depot.
No, not that stuff.
Different stuff?
No, this stuff is like medical grade where it won't like poison you.
Okay.
It's like you literally stick it in a bullet hole and you just hold the can down and it'll fill the whole cavity in and stop all the bleeding pretty much.
But what's behind that bullet hole?
This foam until
like it stops an artery. You can't. I mean, it's going to push it aside and you're going to go out into somewhere else in your body. I don't know.
Some crazy crap.
Doctors are a lot smarter than I am. I'm a dumbass. So
all I know is how to stop bleeding. That's it. That's all I know.
Pressure. Just apply pressure.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. I'm really sorry that Marc decided not to be here tonight, but we've got shows 4 nights a week. We got the Monday edition. We got Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesdays, and we've got Kevin Bigley here on Tuesday. That's going to be a good show. Wednesday is Adonza. Thursday is Sergeant's Time, and then we're back here on Fridays. Tomorrow you can catch us on the Armed Forces Network. We're going to be on... I stapled these things all together, and that was probably not a good idea. But Ice and I are going to be in Colorado Springs tomorrow, and we're going to be doing a broadcast, and it's going to be shared on U.S. Army WTF Moments tomorrow, and it's going to be a fun time. So thank you all for being here. And my name is Kaz, and that is Pookie. You got any parting words?
Yeah, don't drink and drive, don't kick your dog, don't beat your spouse, and be safe, and don't let the world craziness drive you insane right now.
This is driving a lot of folks insane, and they're just like glued to the TV. Take a break. Just take a break, take a breath.
Take a woosah.
Take a woosah. Go ride your bike. Go walk in the woods or something, man. You got to take a break from this. Don't let it control you. Don't let it fuck your mind up. Rocky, yeah. I love Colorado Springs. I've been there a couple of times. So, yeah, CQ's got some great guests coming up. So, yeah. Love you all, and we'll be back next time, man.
This is WTF Nation Radio.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no. So the girl come downstairs. She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.